Hi, it's Ileana. So I was remote viewing the Black Operations Group and how they build their black sites. And when I was looking at the ideograms for the remote viewing process itself, what is the first thing that comes in as the ideogram, the idiom? Because when you're doing remote viewing, a simple thing appears. The first signal connection to the site that you're remote viewing. And what came up was a pyramid. And when I followed the frequency of the signal to the black site location of one of these operational bases underground that the Black Operations Group runs, it's one of their military bases, and it's underground, so it's under layers of security measures. Some people have been invited there to see what's happening there, and it's mostly for military purposes and experiments, R&D. What I saw is that the base architecture is very strange. They have pyramids as part of the architecture, literal pyramids built out of something that looks like a black grayish material, and the base itself is made partially out of that as well. And so the reason why it has several pyramids, like 2 pyramids on the base structure, is to literally, with this black material, whatever that is, harness and extract 0-point energy, gather that energy as a power plant base. So basically the pyramids are inbuilt into this base structure to work as power plant generators. Collect that 0-point energy and use it to work it into the infrastructure of the base. So you basically don't need to tap into the electrical grid system, into the main electrical grid system to use power consumption. They can tap into their pyramid plant because those pyramids act as the generators. They can tap into that infrastructure of the architecture of these pyramids inbuilt into the bases, and they can create their own electricity. They can create their own quantum network fields, electromagnetic fields for communication purposes, and basically create their own networks of communication systems that does not require to be connected to the Wi-Fi networks, to be connected to the mainstream electric grid systems. And they can mask their own power consumption, how much energy input output they create, and basically just not use the internet or the intranet internal systems that everybody else is using on the surface. And they can encode their communication systems, they can encode their transmission of data in the quantum systems that they're building that does not depend on the central intranet or internet systems that the military uses, that civilians use in the public system. They're creating their own infrastructures, so they cannot be backtraced or found what their activities are. And scientists in 2018 had found out that the Giza Mean Pyramid, if you use radio wave frequencies, you can generate electromagnetic energy and create nanoparticles out of that for generating power, generating the nanoparticles for nanocells, for basically using that to create energy panels. You can create power cells. You can create sensors. You can create better electrical systems by generating electromagnetic wave frequencies, nanoparticle technology. You can create better cells for energy gathering and put those on space stuff. And you have your improved way of gathering energy with these new cells. So that's what was discovered from studying the main pyramid in Giza. The chambers within the pyramid, when you're using radio wave frequencies, it activates the electromagnetic energy and it becomes a little mini power plant generator in that particular pyramid system. And you can create energy. You can harness energy. You can use it as frequency. You can use it as electricity. You can create it into nanoparticles, and you can create it into energy cells to improve how energy is gathered. That's already on people's roofs, and that could be better enhanced because you have those dishes that basically collect energy. They're flat panels. They're energy cells. They're on people's roofs. They're stationary. They collect power from the sun and they power your electricity instead of using a heat pump all the time or some other radiant heating. So you have that already. We've had that created. But the Black Operations Group is harnessing energy from inbuilt pyramids made out of this black material. Whatever that coating is on the base itself and on those pyramids, it is generating 0-point energy as a power plant generator system for internal systems to power their underground facilities, their black sites, so they don't need to be dependent on anyone or anything externally on the surface or power dishes or anything of communication systems. They're creating basically their own internal systems to be self-efficient and not dependent on power energy production. They're becoming self-sustainable on their own with their own R&D, developing mechanisms of 0-point generators and plants based on ancient technology from Egypt and even going back to Atlantis. The pyramids were used as power plants and power energy generators in Atlantis because those pyramids were coated with crystalline materials. They were advanced power plants back then, and they were in Egypt as well because there was more than limestone coating the pyramids. There was also gold and other materials that coated the pyramids and amplified electromagnetic energy frequency and harnessing power through water, through magnetism, electromagnetic frequency. They were basically hydropower plants and voltage systems, these pyramids in Egypt, the Giza Plateau pyramids. And that can still be replicated today to some degree, as scientists were able to do, to create nanoparticles and nanocells to harness energy for sensors and other things. It's been tested and it's becoming more of a proven science what these pyramids can do in the chambers. But this Black Operations Group has pyramids. The first gestalt of the first ideogram in the remote viewing of what these black sites look like and what technology they're using, that was shown in that remote viewing. And I'm a curious person, so after the remote viewing projects were completed, I'm like, why do they have pyramids on their underground black site base military base locations. Why would they need pyramids as part of the architectural structure? It's not just an architectural feature. It actually does something to produce power, energy, 0 point for their uses and needs, for power consumption, for power generation internally, not connected to any external surface grid system, electrical grid. They're not connected to the grids, none at all. So that's why they have pyramids. This black material, whatever it is, the covering, the coating, it helps to generate the 0 point energy. That's why they have it on their bases, to be self-sufficient, self-sustainable, to create and consume their own electricity and power, to not be connected to anything on the surface level of power grids, electrical grids. They have their own lights on with their own technology. Basically, that's what they figured out how to do based on the knowledge that they have going back into the past from Egypt, Atlantis, and other ancient technologies. They have the know-how and the scientific knowledge to do that, and they've done it. That's what the remote viewing showed, which I think is interesting, and I wanted to share that. Thank you so much.